I'm Tatiana, and my goal is to explain what child development is and how important it is to understand. I will start off by giving the definition of child development according to the medical dictionary, and I will put it in my own terms. I will then go into a few categories of developmentally appropriate practices. These categories include appropriate classroom settings, curriculum, parent teacher involvement, and discipline. I will then show an interview I conducted where I asked one of my previous professors in the Family Consumers Department a few questions about child development. Child development is a process every child goes through. This process involves learning and mastering skills like sitting, walking, talking, skipping, and tying their shoes. Children learn these skills during predictable time periods, but every child is different. Curriculum emerges from the play of children and the play of teachers. It is constructed by the children and the adults and the environment itself. To develop curriculum in depth, adults must notice children's questions and invent ways to extend them. So when a child has a question about something or when they're interested in something, the teacher should build a curriculum around that so the child can stay interested in what they're learning. The developmentally appropriate classroom should be colorful, but not too colorful where it's stimulating the children. Have lots of activities for the children, have alone areas for the children, have books, but don't expect for the children to be able to read the books quite yet. Their creations, paint, earth and science, plenty of space for them to run, and lots of window lights. Discipline, better yet known as guidance in the child development field. There are lots of questions about this topic. Guidance to me looks like setting clear expectations for the child, never yelling, going down to their level and giving them direct eye contact. You should also be prepared to repeat things over and over. Explain to the child what you want them to do and let them know what is not acceptable. Parent-teacher involvement is really important. If the child sees the two agreeing, the child will feel more safe with the teacher and develop a sense of trust. Jane D. Hull says, and I quote, "At the end of the day, the most overwhelming key to a child's success is the positive involvement of parents." I'm interviewing Dr. Brewer. She's the Director of Child Development here at ASU. Dr. Brewer, I have a few questions for you. Are you ready?
Absolutely.
How long have you been working in the field and what got you interested in it?
I've been working in the field in full-time jobs about 18 years, but I also worked in child care centers in high school and in college. I worked at Greenway Child Development Center, Greenway Baptist Church Child Development Center, part-time as a floater and to earn money for college. But full-time jobs in the field about 18 years, since 1997. And I started working in early intervention with children birth to 3 that have disabilities and their families for Mecklenburg County Infant Toddler Preschool Services. And I got interested in the field because I've always loved children. I've loved to babysit when I was little, younger. And when I grew older, I couldn't understand why people treat children in certain ways. And when I entered college, I thought this is really what interests me and I want to learn more about it. I want to know what's right, what's not right. And I never expected to continue with my education after my undergrad, but opportunities fell in my lap that I could not ignore. And I've loved it.
Okay, in your opinion, what does child development mean and how important is understanding it?
I think child development, in my opinion, means exactly what it says. It's how children develop and learn. And I think it's extremely important. How can we teach children if we do what we think and not what we know is best for them? That can be harmful to children. I say in my classes, what's easiest for adults is not always what's best for children. This is a job. There's work involved. It's not just playing with children. We now have research. For example, in the 1990s, we got brain research came out and let us know that children ages birth to 5 learn concretely by doing. And the content has to be meaningful for them in order for them to retain it, or they're not going to retain it. So that's what I think child development is. It
Makes sense to me. We talked about child development. Now, how important is the curriculum and what should it be compiled of?
Oh, the curriculum is extremely important due to and based on research. I believe children learn best through an emergent curriculum, and what that means is we base it on what the children's interests are. So any goal that we have, we can implement it or help them, give them opportunities to work on that goal in ways that are interesting to them. not us. For example, just because it's fall, I wouldn't talk about, automatically we're going to talk about apples and then we're going to talk about ice. I would only do that if the children showed an interest in it. Whatever they're interested in, I can work on any goal with them. I also believe that routines are part of the curriculum. For instance, going to the bathroom, diaper changing, those are great times for curriculum. I think you've seen that at Lucy Brock. Also, mealtime, snack time is also part of the curriculum. We have talked before, Tatiana, about how children are capable beings and they can throw their own lunch away. They can, giving them opportunities to do that should be part of the curriculum because that's them learning how to interact with their environment. Let's see, I also think that outdoors should be part of the curriculum. I think most of what you have inside you can take outside. I don't think that outdoors are extra or special. I think they're part of the curriculum and that children should go outside whenever possible.
I agree. We talk a lot about developmentally appropriateness in our classes. What does a developmentally appropriate classroom look like?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is centers, traditional centers, like dramatic play, blocks, a library, that's reading, that sort of, or looking at books, that sort of thing. I wouldn't expect children birth to 5 to be reading, but pre-reading, interest. And also a developmentally appropriate classroom should look like a comfortable, natural environment for children. I wouldn't do bright colors because that would be too stimulating. Really neutral, lots of wood, lots of things that you might see in a home. Just really natural for them. Natural lighting, I think I said that. Room to move about, which changes every year depending on the kids in your room and what they need as far as how you would set it up for them to move around. And again, I also believe that the outdoors are an extension of a developmentally appropriate classroom.
Discipline is a hot topic in child development. How should children from ages birth to kindergarten be disciplined?
That's a loaded question, Tatiana. In our program, we don't have a discipline course. We call it guidance, and the reason we do that is because we guide the children to learn what is appropriate and what isn't. And we don't necessarily call it discipline. Discipline to me sounds a little more of a punishment, where, like for instance, at Lucy Brock, if a child is out of control, they don't say go to timeout. They say, come over here. I see your body's not under control. Let's sit here a minute, get your body under control, and then we'll go back and play. So what you're doing is you're teaching them in a non-punitive way what is acceptable and what to do when your body's overwhelmed, because that happens to children a lot. They can't control everything yet. So in that way, it's more of guidance as opposed to discipline, which again sounds more punitive to me.
You teach the families class. Is parent-teacher involvement important?
Yes, it's crucial, and I laugh because that's my favorite course. You've seen me teach that class, I believe. And I say in that class, if you don't have the family, you don't have the child. And what I mean by that is you have to have family involvement because it's directly linked to what's happening with the child in the classroom, how they're feeling. All of that is directly linked. I can't say how it is so important to be involved with the families. I can't imagine teaching and not being involved with families. That should be linked together so that families can be giving children opportunities at home, the same opportunities that you might be giving them in the classroom, and everything is linked and the child feels comfortable. There's also research that shows that children feel more comfortable when their parents and teachers are getting along.
Well, I've learned a lot. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Tatiana.